Afeni, his mother, had called me and told me to come and see your brother, see your sister, and my sister Setua, and I was living in Oakland, they were in Marin City. He was just coming out of high school and that type of thing, and so he gravitated towards me for some type of, stability, and fortunate enough, we were both involved in the arts, and we inspired each other.
Even though he was from a lot of different places around the country, Oakland is who gave him his start. He never forgot that. Oakland is also who gave his mother her political start. He never forgot that.
West Side, thug life, outlaw, immortal, strictly represented.
Being a child of the Black Panther Party shaped Tupac almost entirely.
Our family was tied up in the struggle, in the civil rights struggle in America.
And as Tupac was growing up, he saw some of this. He heard stories of this. His mother suffered as a result of not being supported by a male-dominated, machismo-centered leadership that didn't concede the importance of the work she did ultimately.
There was some, neglect only because our parents were on another mission.
And so they were eventually homeless and lived from home to home and place to place. I think Tupac, by the time he's 14 or 15 years old, has moved, 15, 20 times. And it was a rough existence for him.
Tupac and I were living together, and when my father would call, we all had a discussion about thug life and what it should mean and what it shouldn't mean. Through the midst of those conversations, we came up with the hate you gave little infants fucks everybody.
His whole idea of what a thug was, his thug mansions and his thug life really meant the life that young guys in his community and so on were forced to live.
Thug life, thug life.
Both the inheritance of the Black freedom struggle was very important to him, but also seeing how they were abandoned in the aftermath of the extraordinary contribution their mother had made to the movement gave him bitter lessons about the moral ends of social struggle. So he was informed quite early about the contradictions in these struggles.
The differences between the Black Panther activist and the rap star are not so great. Everything from style to outspokenness to fearlessness is comparable.
Panthers in the civil rights struggle that we were involved in, they were, attentive to the arts, and they were attentive to that type of nurturing. And so, even though we separated, that was still instilled in us.
From a young age, Tupac's gift as a rapper became his way of teaching others about the harsh realities of life.
That what his mother taught him and what the Black Panthers gave him was a vocabulary, a grammar of social justice.
With rappers, all of a sudden people are like, these are our political leaders, these are our Malcolms and these are our Martins.
I mean, when you think about even some of his music, just the other day I got lynched by some crooked cops, and to this day, them same cops on the beat getting major pay. But when I get my check, they taking tax out, so we paying the pigs to knock the blacks out. So you don't need to study, Marxism 101 to understand that he understood that you were virtually subsidizing your own oppression.
People that's not attracted to that kind of music, he'll go get at them where they was at, in gangster rap, in club music, and put some consciousness in there, and at the end of the day, they know more. And he snuck the consciousness in there on them.
This guy was really doing some things. The fact that early on he was talking about how to bring about social change at 16 and 17 years old, coming up with ideas that we need to all be thinking about. He wasn't just like, well, I'm just going to try and see how I can get on. He was like, man, one day we need to, maybe have the president stay in an apartment and let everybody who's homeless in D.C. live in the White House.
He got a lot of his charm, intelligence, and firepower from his mother, who as a young woman who's pregnant 7 months or so in the court, arguing for the issue of social justice and for the ability of the Black Panthers to be able to do what they do without the tyrannical surveillance or the breakdown of their movement by the local police and the FBI.
I was brought up on the hip-hop shit. And everything I learned straight from it, but now I'm caught up.
Before Oakland and a brief but happy stint in Baltimore, a young Tupac named Lesane Parish Crooks at birth lived in New York City.
Harlem, USA. 120th and Morningside. You know, for those who know, you know, it's in the heart of Harlem. I mean, my earliest memories of him was when he was like 2 and I was like 4. You know, we have different mothers, but we have the same father. You know, it's not Pac's biological father, but my father raised Pac. We both grew up with thinking that my father was our father. Whatever knowledge we could pull from my father, we did. And Pac pulled a lot from my father. We got to be little together, you know. My father taught me to look out for my little brother, and that's what I did. My father, he observed us from afar, you know. He wanted to know how we were doing. He would check up on us. You know, I remember times in Queens where he would just drive through the neighborhood, and he would come through, give me some money, and keep on rolling.
Tupac's revolutionary destiny was foretold even before he was born.
So from the very beginning, he inherited this impulse to defend yourself, to be articulate, to use your education and your intelligence as a source of not only protection of your own family, but to defend black people.
He knew he was in a position to make a difference. So if he was in a position to make a difference, the mission was to do what we have been taught, you know, as children of the struggle, as children of parents who were in the Black Panthers. I am not your equal, meaning your equivalent.
But he was really well-rounded individual, and I still, you know, I miss him. I miss having conversations with him.
He took everybody who we met in the studio especially, for what they were. He didn't, you know, wasn't about to like give you a hard time because of this or because of any kind of preconceptions that he had.
My son was a magic person, a magical person. In our personal lives, he was our star. He made our whole lives shine.
Okay, he was a fighter, and he really wasn't afraid. He was also fearless. He didn't care if the government locked him up or if he got hit with a fake murder rap. He almost, you know, that's what the whole Machiavelli thing's about.
Whether he was acting or whether he was talking about the Black Panthers or whether he was speaking about police brutality or whether he was talking about racial or economic inequality, he brought such a passion.
Tupac, you know, was a genius. He really was, you know. I always told him, I said, Tupac, you remind me so much of Miles Davis. They were both Geminis and very similar.
But I think that he will be seen in the future generations, remarkably so, as an artist of significant achievement who deserves to be placed in the pantheon of great American literary figures.
A lesson that I learned from that is, like how I told you, that we were all proud of him. I never got to tell him that I was proud of him.
Respect means everything, but for you to have respect,
he's lying. Don't believe him. He's lying. What's up, Tupac?
What's up, Yo, what's up? Ain't you gonna get a new one though? That's color old though.
And so, lesson learned is that, you know, now I always try to tell people that I appreciate them while they're here. You know what I mean? Because when they're gone, it's too late.
Basically, the dude's a genius.
I'm happy to be here. I just love the crowd, the atmosphere, you know.